Go ahead.
Okay, I would like to start off by, our topic is capital punishment, and we are for it. And I would like to give the term of capital punishment, which is the death penalty, the act of killing or executing a person who was found guilty of a serious crime by the government. Without a doubt, executions are considered the ultimate punishment for a crime. And the logical alternative, of course, would be life in prison without parole. Therefore, I would like to point out some facts because for capital punishment, while we are for it, it would be less expensive, or safety, even for our inmates. Let's just say they have, all of them are there because they did a mishap in life, but there's some that are worse. You have actual rapists and murderers who have been, they dismembered young kids who haven't given them a chance in life. We have many facts where some of these murderers have been released multiple times and they have been given a second chance, but we do have a list of where it goes on and on, where these people it proves that they should need to be incarcerated, not incarcerated, but be put up for capital punishment.
We are against the death penalty, and again, I'll just take a couple facts as you did and just read them. Currently, there's 35 states that do the death penalty, 15 states that do not. The death penalty, the majority of the time, is done by lethal injection, but has also been carried out through electrocution, gas chamber, hanging, and a firing squad. In Texas, the death penalty case costs an average of $2.3 million, which is 3 times the cost of imprisoning someone in a single cell at the highest security level for 40 years. So if you look at the financial facts, it is easy 2 to 3 times more expensive to try a capital penalty case, the death penalty case, and to carry that out. Also, since 1973, 130 people have been released from death row with evidence of their innocence. The death penalty, you can't take that back once you carry that out. Even with the slightest chance of innocence, that's something you can never take back. From 2000 to 2007, there's been an average of 5 exonerations per year. That's a huge margin of error that you're rolling the dice on. So
there has been also one thing is that you mentioned was it is more expensive to carry out a capital punishment. And the thing is about that, I've seen there is proof that it costs more to keep a murderer alive, incarcerated, and giving them the luxury. You know, when you think about it, it's a lot of people don't believe in it because they say the term is eye for an eye, right? And you want to, since they killed my daughter, I want him to get death row. And I'm like, and then if you were to give him, what is it, solitary confinement, where they're just by themselves in a room, they get adapted to that. Why should they have the luxury of staying alive? They're gonna get comfortable and adapted to it. Why should they be around other people? Why should he or she be given the luxury of being alive when there's just horrible stories where these people, they don't have no heart. They killed toddlers, 8-year-old boys, women, people who serve our country.
To address the cost issue, you can say that it's cheaper to kill someone and not have to pay to feed them, and that's true. But the costs that are incurred are the initial costs. The courts, the appeals, the judges, the attorneys, the court reporters, clerks, all of the appeal processes. So if you look at it from a whole, it is far more expensive.
I would say
excuse me, that we are, as a society, we are not handling this situation correctly by any means. When we put someone on death row, we let them sit there year after year after year. Why we even call it death row, I don't know, because it's 10, 20, 30 years before they're finally executed. So it's not, I mean, if you're going to kill somebody, carry it out, and carry it out immediately. Don't let them sit there forever. So as a society, we are losing, because if we're going to let them sit there for 30 years, we need to be scientifically, medically evaluating these people. Why did you do whatever it is, especially if it's horrendous involving children? What caused this? Is there something wrong in your brain? There's all kinds of studies that can be done to maybe be able to say, well, you know, we can improve the cost of keeping them alive because we're studying them to learn from them, so that this doesn't keep repeating. I mean, this evidently keeps repeating, and per year, I think there's, I'm not looking at the numbers, but it's like 3,000 a year that are put on death row, but only 21.
3,261 are currently on death
Right,
row.
and just 21 per year are actually carried out. So how is this death row? I don't get it.
There's, you know what, there's some people who try to get away with it, and there's this person, Winford Stokes, who he ruled insane on 2 counts of murder, and he escaped from the asylum. Why would they, what do you call it? It's just that, what do you call it? That's why people like this who try to use that as an excuse, why would, and you said too, even your facts stated that there's some people who have been wrongfully executed, then that is why there's a time span. You're not just gonna do, they're not gonna make a decision like that out of spite. They have to do furthermore
But the
investigate.
30 years that people are sitting there, their cases aren't actively being appealed all the time. I mean, they're just sitting. And there has been cases, case studies where jurors are polled, and jurors are reluctant. If the juror is placed in a courtroom and being forced to choose between putting somebody to death and acquitting them, there's people, you're asking people to make that decision. And if you have people that aren't comfortable putting somebody to death, it makes jury members reluctant to convict people at all. And so most people, even the people that were polled that are in support of the death penalty, more than half of them stated that if given the choice of convicting somebody with life in prison with no chance of parole or the death penalty, if they knew that they would have life without parole, that they would choose that, even people that are in favor. So
But people who have that option are these people that are in jail, and they don't care. They already have life in prison, so therefore they're gonna kill other individuals. What are they gonna get worse than that?
I don't think that it's right to assume that because somebody committed a crime at a time that may be heinous, that there is not the possibility for that person to be sorrowful or repentant, or to make something with the rest of their life.
I would like to ask, how do we decide who gets on death row anyway? I mean, a person could go out tonight, go to a bar, drink all night, and go out and have a car wreck and kill 5 people, and he doesn't end up on death row. But yet a man goes out and unfortunately kills a child, and he's going to end up on death row. So I don't understand where we even decide.
Those are the people also that you see in jail too, but they do,
They are in jail, but if you've gone out, if we're going to look at this death penalty thing, a person is taking a life. That's why they're on death row. So evidently then everybody that takes a life should be on death row. We can't just say, well, if you perform your act this way, then you get on death row, but if you do it this way, then you're going to end up over here in jail for 50 years. But this other person might get 10 years. Our whole system is screwed up. And again, we go back to, why aren't we studying these people? This is repetitive. It goes back to Ted Bundy. It goes back to Charlie Manson. He's been sitting, he's not on death row. Is he on death row? He's been sitting forever. And nobody has studied these people. And I don't understand why we're not learning from them. Why we're not studying their behavior.